Okay, let's begin with our top focus this broadcast. Personal data of around 1 crore customers is feared to have been stolen from the server of the world's busiest e-ticketing portal IRCTC. Maharashtra's Additional Chief Secretary Home, KP Bakshi, confirmed the development to India today. Sources say that details of around 1 crore individuals have been hacked. IRCTC officials fear that personal details including phone numbers, date of birth and other such details of its customers have been sold in a CD for 15,000 rupees to whosoever wanted to procure them. The Inspector General of the Cybercrime Department sent a complaint to the Chief Commercial Manager of the Western Railway on the 2nd of May. The complaint said that data of railway passengers is being sold online. The Railway Board called a meeting yesterday and formed a 6-member committee to investigate the matter. However, in what seems to be a face-saving exercise, IRCTC officials have denied reports of hacking.
देखिए, ऐसा है कि IRCTC की साइट बिल्कुल हैक नहीं हुई है। ये बड़े कॉन्फिडेंस के साथ कह सकता हूँ, क्योंकि हम लोग जो है IRCTC की साइट को हमने चेक कराया, पिछले 1 महीने का डाटा चेक कराया। इस पर कोई अनयूजुअल एक्टिविटी नहीं है। 1 करोड़ के डाटा की बात हो रही है। डाटा हो सकता है, ये हम नहीं मना करें, बट ये IRCTC का है, ये एस्टेब्लिश करना जब तक डाटा हाथ में ना आए बहुत मुश्किल है। और वो भी कितना डाटा IRCTC से मैच करता है उसके बाद फॉर्मली कहा जा सकता है।
हम लोगों ने एक कमेटी बना दी थी और साथ में एक टीम बनाई इसको इंक्वायर करने के लिए भी कि इसमें ये सारी चीज़ें आप लोग देख लें इमीडिएट बेसिस के ऊपर, क्योंकि वैसे भी हमारे यहाँ पे इसकी पूरा चेक होता है सिस्टम का। STQC से होता है, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉनिक एंड टेलीकम्युनिकेशन के यहाँ से होता है, वो हम लोग ऑलरेडी करते हैं। उस टीम की रिपोर्ट, एक प्रिलिमिनरी रिपोर्ट भी आ गई है आज हमारे पास, जो हमने देखा है कि इसमें कहीं से भी किसी तरह की कोई हैकिंग नहीं हुई है, किसी भी तरह का बड़ा मास लीकेज डेटा का जैसा एलिज किया गया था वो भी नहीं मिला है। और ये पूरा सिस्टम बहुत स्मूथली काम कर रहा है और जितने भी हमारे प्रिवेंशंस हैं और जितने भी सिक्योरिटी फीचर्स हैं वो सारे अपनी जगह पे हैं।
Okay, so the IRCTC officials, of course, claiming that data has not been leaked, but question is what all could have been leaked if the hacking did take place. Essentially personal data like email, your phone numbers, address of customers who use IRCTC to book railways, or PAN card number of customers as well, because that is required on the site. And what do you need to do immediately to course correct in case if your data has been hacked? You have to reset your IRCTC password immediately. Also, if you have connected your IRCTC login details to an application, say like Yatra or Make My Trip, disconnect it and reconnect using the new password if required. You may have some money in your IRCTC prepaid card if you use one, so reset that as well. And finally, if you have used a credit or a debit card on the IRCTC website, make sure you are vigilant and you keep an eye on the transactions being carried out using these cards. If there's anything fishy, inform your bank immediately. Okay, so I'm being joined live by Viren Gunavat, our colleague in Mumbai, and also Mr. Pawan Duggal, who is a cyber security expert. But to coming to you first, Viren, what is it that the Maharashtra, the Chief Secretary seems to be suggesting that this was hacked, but IRCTC officials are denying it. So how is this war really sort of, where does this stand, this argument?
It's very difficult to come to the conclusion like what really made KP Bakshi to make such a big statement saying, and even a big statement to India today saying that 1 crore personal detail has been stolen by some hackers. The sources are saying that some days back the railway officials had arrested some people on the ground who were involved into some CD making or some kind of some kind of indiscriminating documents they have with them. That particular person had given details to the railway officials that there's a CD available in the market with all the personal details got from IRCTC, and that there was a press conference some days back where KP Bakshi had indicated this particular point, and now the KP Bakshi had come officially making that these details are coming from IRCTC, and they have informed these details to Railway Board, IRCTC officials, and some other even the cyber crime team.
Okay.
Even the sources from cyber officials, the top senior officials are saying that these details are getting investigated both in Mumbai and Delhi cyber team. In fact, even IB might be looking into this case. And now, how much the authentication is coming from these authorities, that need to be seen.
You know, Mr. Duggal, we heard one of the IRCTC officials who are, of course, vehemently denying that this has not been hacked, the website, but they said that it would be a very time-taking process to collate really the information on the CD that it indeed has been hacked from IRCTC. Is that true? What kind of a challenge is that?
Well, first and foremost, the very fact that the data is out is a wake-up call for all stakeholders. It's of no consequence whether the data is coming from IRCTC or whether it's coming from any other source. The fact is, sensitive personal data of Indians who give up this data to service providers in the implicit hope and faith that this would not be compromised has already stood compromised. Now, therefore, the bigger issue is this entire matter will have to be investigated to find out where the breaches have taken place. Well, we have seen for the last many years there have been repeated cases and instances where breaches of data on IRCTC web server has been reported. There have been some channels who are doing some special programs. But the fact remains is, we'll have to quickly look at now focusing on two things. Number one, trying to identify where the breach took place and try to identify the people who have been responsible for the breach. But more significantly, a bigger issue is, let's have a look back to the IRCTC. Now, IRCTC is an intermediary under the Information Technology Act 2000 and is mandated to exercise due diligence while it discharges its duties under the Act. It also is mandated to put up in place reasonable security practices and procedures when it actually goes handles sensitive personal data. Now, in this case, we don't even know what all are the reasonable security practices and procedures have been done.
You know, but
For
as a
example,
cyber security expert, when you look at the IRCTC website, what comes across to you maybe as very vulnerable points? Because when there is, you know, customers that actually come into this website by not just the thousands, but maybe lakhs, how do you make such a service more secure?
Well, first and foremost, we will have to look at the fact that this service is addressed from all the loophole points from where the intrusion can take place. So we'll have to identify where are the loophole points, number one. Number two, we'll have to look at where are outside computer resources talking or communicating with the server, and we'll have to look at those channels of communication. And number three, we'll have to look at it whether IRCTC has implemented an ISO 27001 in terms of the practices for this international standard on information security. And more significantly, has IRCTC done all its compliances under the Information Technology Rules 2011? Because IRCTC, when it's dealing, handling or processing sensitive personal data, becomes an intermediary. It's required to fulfill a variety and a gamut of compliances. Now, when I look at the website, I don't get to see any of these compliances have been done or not, because there's no proof of that fact. So maybe some of these compliances may have been done at the back end. So we'll have to wait and watch. But ultimately, it's still a wake-up call for IRCTC. You can't be in a denial mode and said, sorry, I've looked up for data for 1 month. Now, as per the last statement made, it was data for 1 month. What is it? What proof is it did not take place prior? The very fact that the CDs have been circulating for quite some time shows that somewhere down the line, some data could have been actually compromised or could have been let out or leaked out of the system.
Okay, things are clearly, you know, not as maybe right as IRCTC claims. Virendra, you know, we heard the IRCTC officials suggesting that there was a preliminary inquiry and that report gives a clean sheet on this issue. Have you tried asking this question to the Maharashtra Chief Secretary? What does he really make of that kind of a report? Or is there a more serious probe outside of the agency that can perhaps bring out better results?
Soon after breaking this story, we again tried to speak to KP Bakshi, sending SMSs and even the queries, but there was one simple reply he had made earlier, that this is not in our jurisdiction. Now it is all the railway officials have to investigate, and even the cyber team has to do that. But very important, Smita, is that we even sent a queries to Manoj, the head of IRCTC, saying important thing. In the first time, he said there's no hacking. In the second statement, he said that the will be a registered official complaint in the Delhi cybercrime. So definitely there's some leakage. You know, there could be a situation of covering up the entire you know, the incident that has took place. But important aspect still here is that no matter what kind of details. It could be the date of birth, it could be the name, rightly said by Mr. Duggal, name of the person or the mobile number. These personal details are being sold at rupees 15,000 per CD in the open market, which the higher authority has indicated. And now this is getting investigated even by IT, because if my sources are right, let me even quote, there is a senior IG of cybercrime in Mumbai has indicated that now this investigation or this information is getting even to the PMO. The PMO might be looking into that. And now, up to what extent this entire scam or this entire incident would be investigated by which authority, that has to be seen, and what really comes out.
Okay, but Mr. Duggal, when a hacking of this level, this extent happens, for a moment if we believe that it has been hacked, how much of an insider sort of help is needed for this? Or do we have excellent quality of hackers in India available now, who are really good at this kind of a corny job?
Well, it could be a combination of both the factors. Invariably, we have seen that some kind of an internal help always is like a cherry on the cake as far as having access to these details is concerned. But what insider job this is clearly something that will have to be investigated. But by and large, the level of hackers today has become extremely sophisticated, and they don't even, in a large number of cases, require internal support, because they are able to identify the vulnerabilities of the system and then come through that vulnerability and often leave without leaving any footprints behind. So consequently, a lot of times these hackers may not even be physically located in India, but may be located outside India and may be using the public internet for accessing, because the biggest democracy in the world, the biggest platform for tickets in the world, if you hack that and the kind of 1 crore data that you have, you suddenly are on a complete chest of treasure, which can be monetized for a long period of time.
Absolutely, and of course these kind of personal data can be used for monetary transaction purposes. Even this can be a very big terror security threat as well, and all organizations, institutions involved need to be very careful. Of course, we as ordinary customers can only choose to be a little more vigilant about the way we leave our web footprint. Appreciate you joining us, Viren Gunawat as well as Mr. Pawan Duggal on this broadcast.